Hey, this is Joseph with Gerber Design, and in this video today I want to show you how I installed this JessEm Tool Company router lift on the wing of my table saw. The first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to rip some strips of plywood down. I'm ripping mine to about 4 inches because that leaves a good amount of space for my router base to ride on without it tilting or falling. I centered the lift in the middle of my table saw and added X-Fasten double-sided tape to all the plywood to secure it to the table. I see a lot of people using this X-Fasten tape with their CNCs, so I thought I would pick some up and give it a try. It does work really great. It is very strong, and as you'll see when I rip these off later, it does rip some of the plywood off with it, so just be cautious on whatever it is you're adhering it to, because you could chance maybe ripping up a little bit of it if you are sticking it to plywood. When you're framing out the lift, you're going to want to make sure that you're doing everything you can to keep that lift as snug as possible. A suggestion I have is to make sure that longer piece you have on the side, you adhere that first and then do the rest after. Now that I have the frame all in place, I'm going to grab my router and then I'm going to grab a 1/4 inch shank templating bit. This bit I'm using is from Whiteside, and I will make sure and link that below. Now, in order to set the depth on my plunge router, I'm going to plunge the bit all the way down to the table, and then I'm going to add a 10mm domino in between the depth gauge and the stop. The router plate just happens to be the same thickness as a 10mm domino. Then once you get started on there, you're going to want to make sure you take smaller passes. It's a lot easier on your router and your router bits when you do that. I probably took 3 to 4 passes, maybe 5, when I was doing this. Once I had got the initial plunge for the outside of the frame, I realized that I needed to remove some more material, so I took a piece of 3/4 inch plywood that I had and I used that for my router to ride on so I could remove some more material inwards without my router falling over. Once I had the majority of the material removed, I cut out the remainder with my jigsaw. I probably should have removed these plywood pieces for the frame when I was doing this, but I was just a little nervous that the depth wasn't deep enough, and I did not want to re-add all of those strips back just to make sure that it was at the proper depth. And now I'm not going to show this because nobody wants to watch my mistakes, but it took me a few passes with the jigsaw to get that hole to the correct width. And here is where I was thinking and realized that maybe you should set your depth just a little bit deeper because you have all of these set screws that will take care of any discrepancies you have with the depth of it. Obviously don't go too deep, but you probably could have erred on the side of a little bit deeper than too shallow. I have the DeWalt 3.5 inch router motor, but this lift is compatible with any 3.5 inch motor. All you have to do is loosen an Allen screw and release the holding mechanism and then drop it in place and retighten. Now I want to make sure that the lift is securely fastened to the table, so I'm going to drill out the holes for the 4 screws that they sent. These are 4 1/4-20 screws, and I'm not sure if mine was just missing something, but it did not come with any of the nuts for these screws. Luckily, I just happen to have some 1/4-20s laying around, so if you do order this, know you're probably going to need some 1/4-20s. The Allen wrench they give you with this is kind of comically long and unnecessary, so I took it over to my bench vise and used my angle grinder on it and decided to make it a little bit shorter and also save that piece of Allen wrench for my drill, so now I can make the lift go up and down a little bit faster. I thought this was a great idea until I actually started using the lift and realized that I only used the drill bit attachment part to raise it and lower it when I was changing the bit. Another cool suggestion I have, get some magnets. I attach these magnets to the legs of my table saw so that way anytime I need any of my accessories they are within reach. Then I had a little space on my tool wall and added the last couple accessories. A really nice thing about having a lift on your table saw is I can use my table saw fence as a point of reference. You can't really tell in this video, but basically I'm just cutting these grooves and using my table saw to get them lined up perfectly on each side. Eventually down the road, I'm sure I will pick up a fence with some dust collection on it, but for right now, this is working great. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful for you and showing you how to install a router lift on your table saw wing. Let me know in the comments what router lift you are using and what you like or dislike about it. I hope that you subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.